What's up, peeps? So I'm going to try to keep this short, get right to the point. So my good friend John Meadows tagged me in this post the other night, along with a lot of other people, to expose this guy named Jaco de Bruyn. I guess it's Jaco, but I'm going to call him Jaco, because that's what I think of him. So basically, Jaco had gone and plagiarized one of John's training programs, pretty much word for word, and was advertising it as own and going to distribute it. And because John has a very large and loyal following, he got wind of this very quickly and began to expose this guy. So I want to add that about a week and a half ago, I wrote a post about the saturation of social media by people who don't have real knowledge and don't have real experience with huge followings. They don't have knowledge or experience in regards to proper training, proper nutrition, and that sort of thing. And my rant was essentially that there's lots of people in the industry based, they have huge followings based on what they look like, but they don't bring anything to the table in terms of, giving out good training advice to people, or, they don't understand how to help people in that regard. And, their knowledge base is very limited. So, for the most part, while my rant was well received, there were people, that wrote stuff like, well, Paul needs to not worry about what other people are doing, or he's just jealous, or that sort of thing. So the timing of this was fairly prophetic. So here's a case with a guy who has a large following. I think he's got almost 1.5 million likes on his Facebook page, and a 250,000 Instagram followers. And basically, he had to resort to ripping someone else off to make it seem as if he had real knowledge about training and programming and that sort of thing. But if the guy had real knowledge, he doesn't have to resort to that. He doesn't have to resort to ripping off someone who is highly respected in the field and does have tons of years of experience and training and helping pro bodybuilders and high level amateur bodybuilders and that sort of thing. But Jaco himself is not smart and is not knowledgeable. So the only way he can make himself appear that way is to just rip somebody else off. So this was the reason, and this is exactly the reason why I ended up having the rant about that. Because if this guy doesn't get busted, then he literally gets to rip John off, or possibly someone else, and present himself as a valuable resource for training and programming, when it's all really a big facade. So it's clear to me that Jaco is a boy who never grew into a fucking man, and that he lacks any sort of personal and professional integrity. And these aren't the kind of people that really should be garnering that type of attention on social media, in my opinion. So I look forward to John smashing this guy, and that's all I got to say about it.